Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Ultra Healthy here, and this is another update video to the progress that I've been making on this game that I've been working on, my journey into learning coding and game development with Game Maker Studio. So a lot has happened since last time. I think it's been about a month, and I've done a lot. I've been working hard, so there's a lot to look at and a lot to cover. I will try not to ramble on about unimportant stuff too much. So first of all, you are looking at a title screen, and we can select from these options. Again, there's like no formatting, so it's really just placeholder stuff, but the code is all there, and it's all working. So we have, you go to game, there's the option screen. Special is going to be things that you unlock after you've beaten the game once, some kind of bonus stuff, and there's nothing there right now. It's just kind of a placeholder. But let's go into options, because there are options actually. So first, there's two difficulty levels, two different sort of control schemes that you can choose from. If you saw the first video and you remember, this game is kind of based around your character can use like three different colored attacks, like your sword slice will be like three different colors. So the way that you implement those is, the way that I had originally thought of it is you're using different places on the D-pad, and that's comfortable for me. I realize some people are probably going to enjoy maybe just using the shoulder buttons. For me, I lose a little bit of control of my thumbs when I'm using the shoulder buttons, so I'm going to do it with the D-pad, but that option will be there. Sound test, there's nothing right now. There's no music in the game. And later on, there will be language select. I haven't put that in there, but there are definitely going to be a few languages, of course, at least English and Japanese, and I think a couple others. So right now, those are just there. And I'll just show you something. So if you change them, for example, not the default ones, go back to the title, and then let's go back into options, and they're there where they should be. And actually at this point in the game, there is something that's affected by the difficulty setting. You may remember, so this is kind of, you're almost like playing rock, scissors, paper with colors. So in the normal mode, if you use the wrong color attack on, a color enemy, even if, your sword is hitting the enemy, you will take damage. And this is kind of how this game works. On easy mode, that won't happen. If you do use the wrong color, just nothing will happen. It'll just, go straight through them. We're going to play on normal mode, of course, and there are going to be some other differences too. But for now, that's that. So why don't we just go straight into the game, and you're going to see, well, we're not actually going to go straight into the game. We are going to go to a cutscene. The game is going to have story sequences in between stages, and this is functional now. So we've got pictures, and we can change the dialogue with the picture whenever we want to, and after a few seconds, this will just kind of, scroll out and go into the game. Or if you hold the start button for like a certain amount of time, if you hold it for about a second, it will also just skip it and go to the game. Just kind of the way it's done in modern games. So here we are. Same kind of placeholder graphics that you guys are used to, but there are some new stuff. There's some major new stuff here. So first of all, at the top of the screen, we've got an HUD. Yes, we have a user interface here. So first I'll explain what's there. At the top left, 2 is how many lives we have left. We have 2 lives. We have 4 hearts. Obviously that's health. At the top right, you can see there is a timer now. Time ticks down slowly. And below that, this is probably the biggest implementation I think that you guys are going to see visually. There's now magic in this game. My character does actually have a new action. So with one of the rear trigger buttons, I can switch between the 3 magics as I like, and it's the same 3 colors, of course, blue, white, and red. Now we're using the B button to implement the magic. As far as on the left side below the HUD, there's kind of numbers you see that's just for me for debugging. That's just my character's position on the screen, the X value and the Y value. No need to think about that. But anyways, let's look at this. Let's look at the magic. So the magic, same idea. You need to use the correct color on the correct enemy. But there's 3 different types, and they kind of move differently. So first of all, let's kill this guy. So blue is weak to red. So let's use the red magic. Blam! You can see we have a nice little spread shot of 5, and here we have a white one. This is sort of a problem because I didn't make the sprite big enough for the blue magic, but it's basically going to be like a whirlwind, a vertical sort of like a Tatsumaki that appears behind the player, and I actually have to take damage to get it to work because the sprite's too small. But here we go. I'll show you what to do. Blam! So eventually, it's just totally placeholder graphics. It's just a rectangle, but it's going to be, you can imagine, right? It's almost like a whirlwind kind of typhoon, like, a water typhoon. So that's all nice and dandy. I can use those anytime I want, but you may have noticed when I used the magic at the top right, my time decreased drastically. So you lose 30 seconds, actually, when you use magic. So that's another thing in this game, basically, is you start out, you can use all the magic in the beginning. Right off from the start, you can use it as much as you want, but every time you use it, you're going to lose 30 seconds of your timer. So I'll just show you the white one, just since we have still a little bit of time left. And then the white magic is just a straightforward laser. It's going to go across the entire screen. Again, this is just all my stupid placeholder graphics. So since we're almost out of time, why don't we just wait and see what happens when time runs out here. So for people who are kind of thinking like, oh, come on, why are you putting a timer in the game? That's so dated. There's no reason. There are actually a couple reasons. I had already planned to have the timer in here before the magic system. It's basically like, well, first of all, let's just let time run out and see what happens. So I do want to show you guys, there's a death state now. And if you lose all your health or if the time runs out, you're going to hit the death state. So, died, fades out, and then we go back to wherever the checkpoint is. In this case, it's the beginning of the stage because we haven't hit any checkpoint places yet. We've lost 1 life. You can see that we're down to 1. And my time is reset kind of to a place wherever it's set in the checkpoint. So even though we're going back to the very beginning of the stage, because I've put an invisible checkpoint, basically when you start the game, I've actually reset it to 250 seconds instead of 300. That's just for me, so that I see what's going on and I know that I'm doing everything correctly. For those who remember the first video, you probably saw how I was having some trouble with the animation with the attack. That was just just total crap, noob, amateur. I mean, it was a totally dysfunctional code. So that's all fixed now. It's perfectly fine. No problems there. So let's go to the next room. So now we have transitions. We can move across rooms now. That's all working, and it tells my player what position to end up in the next room. That's important. So we can just kind of move along here as before. Kill you, blam. And then we move on here to the next room, and now we have a checkpoint here. So usually, obviously, in the real game, actually in the real game, what's going to happen is, it's not like you're going to see checkpoints. Basically, there's just going to be one, more or less in the middle of the stage, and it's going to be at the beginning, of some section. So you're not even going to see it. You're just going to arrive in the section, and then, if you die from then on, you'll reappear at that spot. I'm doing this for me so that I can, just debug things, make sure, the code that I'm implementing is working the way I think it's going to work. So we got that checkpoint now. So let's die and see what happens. Just take a few damage here, and you can see when I'm taking damage, I am losing the hearts. That's all working fine. Blam, hit again, and 1 more, and I died. And we are back at this room where the checkpoint is. No problems there. Wonderful. So all's fine. So one thing about the magic. So white is weaker than blue. So if I were to attack the blue enemy with my white attack, you see I take damage like that, right? Whoops, I've got a sort of problem there where my damage... my damage state allows me to attack, so I'm going to have to fix that later. But if you do with the magic, you won't lose any... You won't lose life if you hit somebody with the incorrect magic. So you've got that advantage kind of by using magic, is you give up some time, but you're safe if you accidentally use the wrong color or something like that. So I think this is going to go to the last room. So what we're going to do is I'm going to die with 0 lives left right now, and you're going to see what happens if you die with 0 lives. Dead. And we go to the continue screen. So we've got 2 continues, and if we select continue, we'll start there, and it's just going to take me back to wherever the checkpoint was, as opposed to the beginning of the stage. Right now I'm doing it that way. I have a feeling I'm probably going to implement it such that if you have to continue, you don't go back to the checkpoint, you go back to the beginning of the stage, wherever that you left off. But, you know, this is huge, huge progress. Like, you know, and it's, you don't really probably think about it when you're playing a video game, but now that I'm making one, you know, I really discover, you know, all these things about, okay, well, when you get to the end of the stage, where do you go? When you die, where do you get sent back to? You know, how do your lives get, you know, reduced correctly? You know, is your health getting set back? All this stuff. It all has to be implemented manually. None of that just, you know, just happens on its own. So I decided I was just going to tackle all that before really getting into, you know, making stages and making the enemy AI, which is, you know, where the real, you know, the real game comes in. But I'm just doing all this kind of behind the scenes logic first. So you remember that's all there. You use the same color, you get hit backwards, or wow, maybe upwards if I can do it right. There you go. So, you know, graphic wise, everything, you know, is obviously still placeholders. You know, no changes there really. But the amount of progress that I've made in terms of this game, you know, logic, you know, it functioning as a full game is massive. You know, it's like huge. It's really quite close to being ready. The other things that I have to do are I need to be able to make in-game conversations, because kind of like when you get to a boss, I want to be able to have a conversation. It's just going to be text, so I need to be able to make sort of like in-game text boxes going back and forth. So I just started studying sequences in Game Maker Studio, and that makes sense. I'm going to have to look up timelines next, and it's all going to happen. I've just been busting my ass on this, though. I mean, like, super hard. You know, once those things are done, I will be able to get to really implementing stage design. I haven't changed the camera thing yet. That's still as it was, but I had a really good hint from somebody in the comments of the previous video that I posted about, you know, showing the progress on this game. So I'm probably going to do it the way that that person indicated to do it. So thank you to people who are giving me advice, giving me suggestions for how to get this done, because I'm starting from scratch, you know. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But it is really cool. It's coming along, and I'm really excited about it. It's really awesome, and I made, you know, after I kind of get the in-game conversations going, I might take a week or two to myself and just relax, because man, I mean, this is like, you know, hard brain work, you know, for me. I'm trying to learn coding from scratch, and I'm almost 40. But it is very rewarding, and I'm definitely going to take this all the way. So again, thank you very much to everybody, you know, who watched this through and is excited about where the game's going. And I definitely would like to keep making progress videos once a month. So I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.